Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at the Transmigratory Adventures of Philip K. and the Land of the In-Betweeners. A very cool indie comic book that was sent my way recently. Can't wait to show it to you. So make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Hit that like button, share my content, all that good stuff, and let's get right into it. So sometimes you find the things you like, and sometimes the things you like find you. And this is definitely one of those cases. This independent comic creator reached out to me, I guess, because of my reviews and wanted me to review his comic book and sent me a copy. And I was more than happy to do that. I love the indie spotlight. I've done a few recently and just discovered some really amazing comic books that's kind of the downfall, but the beauty of indie comics is like it's so much fun to go like on a hunt and find them. It's so much fun to like have them sent your way. It's so much fun to like discover them. And I think that like it's kind of a blessing in a way that Marvel and DC suck so hard right now because I can't relate to any of their comic books. They're basically uncollectible to a certain point. I mean, they have some hits here and there, but mostly misses in the complete direction, the constant reboots, the lack of direction, the lack of cohesiveness, just the stupid events for no reason, the endless deaths and rebirths. Like, I could go on and on, which is kind of ironic given the subject matter of this comic book. But the point being, as I keep rambling and rambling, is that it makes you like, I love good comic books with good comic book storytelling, and it just so happened to be that those comics of my youth were the superhero comic books, but I feel like where the real talent and the real, like groundbreaking stuff is in indie comic books, and there's such a like, just movement in indie underground comics that there are so many amazing books, and I'm so happy to always just recognize them and give them attention, especially when they're good. And sometimes they're not so good, but you have to really appreciate someone's effort to like put so much work into it. But the good news is that this one is good. I love that it's like there's so much hidden, like I'm a weirdo. I love like paranormal stuff. I love conspiracy theories. I love like esoteric stuff. I love deep thoughts. I love deep thoughts, like by Jack Handy. Anyway, Philip K. So that immediately made me think of Louis C.K. and I'll tell you why. Because I never heard of Philip K. Dick until I think my friend Brian Payne mentioned him in one of his brilliant references, as usual. And I immediately thought of Louis C.K. because my brain, I don't know, I'm left-handed. Sometimes it's backwards, sometimes it backfires. I don't know how it works. But so I thought, oh, that's so weird. Like, in this like new woke culture, like, why would you like want to give props to Louis C.K., like that guy who pleasures himself in front of captive audiences? And I thought, yuck. But then I quickly realized, oh no, Philip K. Dick is not Louis C.K. So I had to figure out who Philip K. Dick was, and then I discovered he's this like super prolific, like amazing science fiction writer who wrote 44 novels and like 130 science fiction articles, and just like this crazy lucrative career, and just like full of deep meaning and sort of like metaphorical stuff, and sort of like I love that aspect of science fiction because it always like questions humanity and like morals and things like that. And I feel like that's kind of the direction. And also, God, we haven't even busted the cover yet, and I just keep rambling. But I love this homage cover. It's funny because it immediately like reminded me of something else, and I wasn't sure quite what it was. It kind of reminded me of like a lot of the rock and roll comic book covers of the 80s. But I think that's like sort of the drawing style with like the like thick ink lines and the cross hatching and just like that kind of style. But like it's very cool, and So this is after Alex Gray, based on his painting Dying, which is very fitting to the story once we get into that. And then, of course, I looked up Alex Gray, and I was immediately familiar with his work. It's like very, I hate to use the term new agey, but sort of like, you know, like spiritual, deep. I mean, you see these eyeballs, so, you know, that always means something. Issue number 1, Mnemonic Comics, Johnny Mnemonic is what makes me think of that. Now I have something else to Google. I mean, I haven't even opened the book, and it's like opening up so many worlds that I love or want to discover. So I feel like it's kind of worth the cover price alone, which brings me to my next point. 444, like something else to the Google. I love numerology. I do think it has meaning. 1111, like that could be, I don't know, that might have something to do with it. I'm not sure. But numerology, like, you know, people dismiss things like numerology and astrology, but I think I try not to like live my life by them, but I find them fascinating because sure, you can make a connection anywhere, but some of it just seems a little too like on point to be dismissed as coincidence. Nice printing job, by the way. Nice thick cover stock. The cover's a little glossy and the pages are a little more matte, and I kind of appreciate that. I think it works well with this sort of airbrushy looking, like, which makes me also evocative of like an indie comic from the 80s, which is such a compliment. But kind of this airbrush kind of look isn't very modern, if you get my drift. But anyway, it's funny because the art starts out very, how do I say, just sort of grassroots or underground, sort of, you know, not super mainstream. And then admittedly, like in the confessional in the back here, he does say his art like definitely improves over the course of the book and started out rough. And I think this is amazing. It's a great, strong effort. I love his line work, and I love the aesthetic of this character. I love the pose. I'm kind of on the fence about the airbrush look and coloring. I'm available as a colorist. I think you should try me out, Sam. I think I could do a good job in coloring this. If you're interested, let me know. Anyway, that brings me to another point I forgot to mention, written and illustrated by Sam Tsohonis, who seems like a very cool, interesting individual. We'll learn more about him later. This starts out with this like creepy dung beetle, and I don't know why I never associated dung beetles with poop, but now I know why they are. So this character sort of just wakes up in the desert. I really do like just the effort and the love that went into this, and it's like really solid storytelling, and kind of reminds me of, even though I never read it, but like Scud a little aesthetically. And this part broke my heart, like spoiler or whatever, but you know, the story is sort of like an afterlife kind of story, so like I guess it's not so much of a spoiler that the story opens up with the untimely death of the main character, but he's walking his dog Arfie, and I just, you know, I love my dog. If you know me, I love my freaking dog so much. And just the thought of the dog being left alone without the owner just made me sad. So then he just goes through this like super cosmic thing, which is giving me like slight Kirby vibes, maybe just a little bit. I don't know. I thought this whole thing was like done. I guess the coloring absolutely must have been done computer. So this is a lot of computer effects, but it's giving me like a lot of like I love the double page spread. I think this looks fantastic. It's giving me like a lot of the Kirby sort of like when Kirby gets kind of weird and deep and sort of collagey and all over the place and cosmic. Cosmic is the word I was looking for. So I think that looks like super cool. And I love it. And I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, the classic, like, journey story. Like, you know, I guess that's like you know, like the the glue of storytelling is like your character's journey. What else is there? But it's just like the elements that are thrown in on this character's journey. And I just love the explanation of this bindle. No spoilers, whatever. I don't want to spoil too much because I do feel you should check out this book. And by the way, it is currently, at the time this video will come out, is currently doing a Kickstarter campaign, which I will link in the description. And I definitely recommend contributing to this. I can't wait to see where this story goes. I think this definitely has the potential to stand next to a long-running, you know, independent, single creator's vision, such as like, you know, a Spawn or a Cerebus or I don't know, just anything like that. I like it, is what I'm saying. I love the vulture, hysterical, the creepiness. Like, there's just like some fun, creepy elements that are just like, I don't know, just like so bizarro, and I just love it. Like this balloon, he just finds this random red balloon, and it takes on like a human persona and bites him. And, but I couldn't help but think of the red balloon, that like old French film from like when you were a kid, if you were a kid 100 years ago, like I was. And, the balloon's face, okay, we're getting to that, but I don't know, he has like crazy good ads, so like he has weird connections. This Sam Tsohonis, mysterious figure who made this book, but, free Julian Assange, and I kind of agree with that. That might sound controversial, but I don't know, I feel like he kind of got a raw deal. I don't believe in like jailing someone over words, for the love of God. I don't know. Anyway, Pam Anderson supports him, so if Barbed Wire can do it, why can't I? And this creeped me the F out. Like, this is so creepy, Sam. Like, the teeth and the just like the creepy face. It looks like a mad ball. It looks like a California raisin. This is the stuff of nightmares. And either in, I don't know, like, I feel like a CGI cartoon, like Pixar, of course, wouldn't do something this bizarro, but maybe they would. I don't know. But I would love to see them get a hold of this. But there's something, and this is sort of like image, like 90s hatching on his face. Like, sort of like how Rob Liefeld drew Juggernaut is what it's kind of reminding me of. But it's more the California raisin and just like creepy, a little red skull thrown in. Like, total stuff of nightmares. This weird red balloon that bites him after, like, it's just so creepy. It's fun. I love weird shit like this. It's like, how do people come up with this? You will not see this like in a Marvel comic book. And that it's like 100 times more reason to like support this Kickstarter and get this book, because it is so fun and good and I love it. And it's funny because, and I don't want to like make this sound like an insult, but I just love how like and he talks about having like notebooks full of like art of his stuff, and I just like, it totally kind of looks like that, just like the best artist in high school, just like producing the greatest stuff that'll probably never be seen, and like this is the perfect opportunity to see it, because the sky's the limit and it's just so weird and brilliant, and I just really appreciate that. And it ends like, I mean, this really makes me want to come back for more. This is so much like that I love, just like a pyramid with the eyeball suggesting the Illuminati or something, and like the is this like the Hindu god, like normally with 8 arms or whatever? Did you get lazy, Sam, and not draw the other 6 arms? Anyway, just kidding. I'm sure I'm like, I should have Googled that as well. Like, whatever. Thanks for like making me spend the rest of the afternoon Googling. I love your book. I think it's amazing. I'm so happy that you reached out to me and sent this to me. I feel really honored and glad to have discovered it, and I will definitely support. And these are kind of like McFarlane letters right there, like torment. Anyway, but I really think this is great. I did want to mention that I forgot to mention in the beginning. Oh, that's a little phallic, and I appreciate that. The fact that, like, Philip K. Dick is obviously so associated with this, and it was sort of like almost like a subliminal thing for you in a way. I like that you just went with it anyway, because it's just sort of like iconic, and it'll keep it going and probably, hopefully, bring more attention to your product, or your, you know, I hate to call it a product, but I guess it is a product of your talent. But anyway, it's great. It's brilliant. I love it. Everyone needs to support it. Linked up to the Kickstarter in here. If you love indie comics, or if you just want to take a chance on like a hot book, like, it's amazing. Thanks again, Sam. Sam Tsohonis, Mnemonic Comics, issue number 1, $4.44. I don't know what the Kickstarter rates are, but worth every penny, I'm sure. I mean, this is a brilliant homage cover of an amazing painting by Alex Gray, and the Transmigratory Adventures of Philip K. in the Land of the In-Betweeners. A look at life and the possibilities of what happens after we die, I guess. Anyway, can't wait to see what happens. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Share my content, and I'll bring you some more later. Take it easy.